I got to tell you, like my biggest dream right now, my biggest aspiration is that this thing is still employing me in 30 years, and I get to build products that hundreds of millions of people use. I mean, that is, I think, a really, really rare opportunity and a real privilege.
A lot of tech company founders are college dropouts. That's sort of almost an archetype. But you actually you finished high school at home, right? Can you tell me about that?
I pretty much dropped out of high school. So I was technically homeschooled for 3 years, which you kind of have to be in New York to be legal. But yeah, I did 1 year at Bronx Science. And what was kind of going on in parallel with that was I had a really terrific internship and then a really great opportunity for a job just as I was turning 15 that I wanted to take, and I was much more excited about than school. And similarly, my parents were much more excited about than the stoner friends that I had made in school. So with their blessing, I dropped out of high school after freshman year to start working.
Now, Fred Seibert, you're the person that you were interning with, and one of several of mentors to you over the years. He told me that you told him that being homeschooled, you saw it as an avenue to getting into MIT.
I definitely did. I mean, I came up with all sorts of research and stats that showed homeschoolers on a percentage more often got into those Ivy League schools just because there were fewer of them. They were kind of evaluated completely differently, and I thought this is perfect because I had at the time aspirations of either going to one of the cool colleges here in New York where I grew up, or going to MIT, which had been my dream for a long time. So I pulled up all the stats that I could to kind of show my folks that, hey, no, this is a real thing. I'm not like a deadbeat here. I can do this. I can go work on these projects, learn a ton, and when it comes time, I can pick up and get into one of these schools because they're going to be so impressed with all this work I'm doing on the side.
If a teenager the age you were at the time were to say, I want to be like you, I'm not going to go to college because I want to be like you and start the next Tumblr, what would you say to them?
So I've gotten this a few times, and I tell people, first of all, I would never recommend it to anybody, and there's a lot that I feel like I missed out on. Just a whole lot of kind of normal social, like childhood kind of stuff that I definitely missed out on. The biggest thing, though, was I really knew exactly what I wanted to be doing and kind of uniquely had exactly that opportunity. And if somebody else had that opportunity, by all means, I would not encourage them to take it. I don't know that I'd be the one rooting for them to drop out of school, but that was the very fortunate and very unique situation I found myself in, of knowing that I wanted to work with computers, knowing that I was excited about web development, having this opportunity to work with incredibly talented developers, where I wasn't able to get that out of high school at the time. And honestly, I mean, the decision to not go to college, driven by very much the same thing. This was 8 to 10 years ago, where you just weren't learning web development in computer science programs. And admittedly, I have gotten to work with people now who've gone through the comp sci programs and are much better engineers for it, much better engineers than me. But for what I wanted to be doing, I was able to learn a lot of that stuff on my own and in the field, where the programs weren't really set up in school for that just yet. It's different today. I mean, if you want to learn how to build websites, build technology, build apps, they have terrific programs and some incredibly talented professors who are able to teach you that stuff in school today.
If you meet one of the shrinking number of people who haven't heard of Tumblr or haven't experienced it, how do you explain it to them?
This is a tough one. I mean, honestly, I usually go for whatever type of interests that person has, or whatever type of creator they are, because it's a media network. It's a place where tens of millions of creators today make some of the most compelling content in the world, and audiences all over the world interested in very different things show up to see that great stuff. So, it depends if the person I'm sitting across from is interested in technology and business, interested in fashion and illustration. And I tell them about those amazing communities and those amazing creators that are on Tumblr. If that person is a creator themselves, I tell them about all of the great things that they can do with Tumblr, why they should be excited to use it to make something that represents them. And I tell them about the audiences that they can build there.
There are two words, in speaking to people around you, your mentors, other people who have worked with you closely, there's two words that keep coming up to describe you. One is polite, one is stubborn. Talk to me about those two qualities and how how they work together or in opposition for you.
I hope I've gotten more polite and less stubborn.
But the stubbornness, I mean, do you need the stubbornness? What does the stubbornness do for you?
No, that's a really good question. So at those moments I've been stubborn in my life, it was because I was really, really believing in something that I wanted to see become a reality, and every now and then, the people around me either didn't totally get it. I was very lucky to always have people around me who at least encouraged it. They didn't tell me I was an idiot. They just said, David, that doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. And occasionally that was other people's projects. Occasionally I was working with other people who wanted me to do the thing like this, and I insisted that this is where it was going over here. So, one example, when I was doing a project for my main mentor, Fred Seibert, he wanted to build a online video channel for animation. He wanted something that looked a lot like YouTube, because that was kind of the set standard at the time, or that was, I should say, kind of the emerging direction of online video. Was this sort of directory with a bunch of thumbnails for videos, and you click on them and it fires it up on a permalink page. And that's what he wanted to do for animation. And I insisted to him, to the point of ignoring his instruction, I insisted that what he really wanted to be doing was thinking about the new video iPod that was about to be coming out in a few weeks. And I, as #1 Apple fanboy, was following really closely all the stuff that Apple was working on. I was already kind of obsessed with podcasting, really excited about the new tech and the new iPod. And I insisted and insisted and insisted. And when he said, no, don't build me that, build me this YouTube type of thing, I came back 2 weeks later. I borrowed my brother's PSP and had a demo of this podcast that I made for him on there. So just that kind of thing where, I saw the world one way and he saw the world another way, and he was paying me to build it his way, but I insisted, no, it looks like this. And that one broke through to him. I didn't, there have been plenty of cases where I didn't break through, or I just wasn't right. But every now and then, I've had those moments where I was stubborn, I saw the world a certain way, I showed him something, and that product ended up becoming a company he founded, Next New Networks, which was acquired by YouTube a few years later. So, I don't know. I've been rewarded a couple times for being stubborn. It's not something that I necessarily appreciated myself, though. Yeah.
What gets you out of bed in the morning, and what keeps you up at night?
So this thing that gets me out of bed is, I think, the same thing that keeps everybody at Tumblr totally pumped, if not totally hyper all the time, which is we have this incredible job of getting to make the tools, getting to build the stuff that the creative people take and turn around and surprise us with. And they surprise us with that stuff thousands and thousands of times over. And again, part of the reason that we're up so early and so excited about the stuff that we're working on is we want to use those tools too. And as soon as we get a glimpse into what those tools are, what's possible, we can't wait to realize them, because we want to play with them ourselves. We want to use them to make something ourselves. The stuff that keeps me up is always team stuff. It's always, am I being a good enough leader for these guys? Am I giving them everything they deserve? Am I setting this up as a productive, collaborative, positive environment? And that stuff really, when it feels like it's slightly off, that's all I can think about, and all I obsess over until I find a way to fix it.
Another thing that Fred Seibert said to me is that earlier in your relationship, he was the one mentoring you. He said now he feels more often than not you're the one mentoring him. Like that example with Next New Networks, teaching him what it had to be. How do you find new mentors or new role models as you move up through the world, through the levels of success?
Well, I think Fred is full of shit saying that. I don't think I don't think that's true at all. But one thing is definitely true, which is the sort of expertise, the experience or that I need help with has changed a lot as time's gone on, right? So Tumblr, when it was 3 people, was all about the product. It was all about just the product details and sort of how I explain Tumblr to the world. Today it's about the team and building the team and the business and our partners and the way the whole company talks about itself out in the world, not just me. And those are different considerations, and that's a very different kind of expertise to know how to direct something that's that kind of big, robust, has that many different ends to it. So, as time goes on, I find mentors. I've still had a fairly small set of mentors who I've tried to keep really, really close. I think a lot of the value in mentors is having them close enough to you that they can spot things that you don't know to ask. And something I've been very grateful for is I've had people who are close enough to sort of grab me on the back of the sweater and go, "Oh, David, you should check on this, or you should talk to that person, or you should be thinking about this, or you should stop doing that." But as time's gone on, have kind of found mentors that are more big operation people than they are the detailed people. I try and keep all of them around me, though. I'm very grateful for all these guys I have in my life.